What's up, folks? David here, TexasHornsFans.com. Breakdown review of the Louisiana game, Week 1, 1-0. This video is about a day late than what I normally would like to do. I'd actually like to wait a day or two to sort of kind of gather thoughts and to hear some other opinions and to kind of pick my important plays and scenarios that happen. So we'll try to do this every week, but definitely drop your comments below. Let me know what you thought stood out to you. What were you most impressed by? What were you maybe disappointed in? And in just kind of in terms of what you felt like you learned about what you think this team is. But definitely some interesting things stood out to me. So we'll look at that, and we'll look at some key plays that really kind of popped off the screen to me. Mostly offense, but also a few defensive too. But don't forget to give the video a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any others. And as always, love to hear from your comments. So enjoy the video. All right, so first of all, should this Texas team be able to beat a number 23 ranked Louisiana Lafayette team? Of course, absolutely. This was an expected win, but I do think the way they won was better than expected, especially from the offensive side of the ball. Louisiana last year opened up with a win over Iowa State, a really convincing win, and they returned really all of their key players and most of their starters, including a fifth-year quarterback, Levi Lewis. So, sure, the vast majority of Louisiana's schedule from last year was, certainly wasn't too impressive. They lost that one game to Coastal Carolina, but they finished with one loss last year, including over Iowa State, and won their bowl game. So this wasn't a pushover team, at all. But being at home with a full stadium again, with Bijan at the center of the offense, and fresh quarterback, all that kind of excitement, you definitely expected a win. A few things that impressed me the most, held them under 20 points, 18 points, really held them to 12 points through three quarters. And, that's one of PK's goals, is to keep the opposing team under 20 points, which sounds, for a Texas defense over the past few years, sounds like an incredibly lofty goal, especially considering, we've seen this team really in most games, win or lose, let the other team sort of dictate the pace of the game. So while the defense kind of looked suspect on a few plays, overall they maintained, I think, control, which stood out to me. Louisiana averaged more than 33 points per game last year, so that's almost cutting that average in half. And they scored 31 in their win over Iowa State last year and in the opening game. And, winning by 20 points that over a ranked team, that certainly is a more impressive win than Oklahoma's 5-point win over Tulane, who that was supposed to be a home game for Tulane, but because of the hurricane, they were displaced and had to play the game in Norman. So that certainly was a less impressive win than Texas over Louisiana. And Iowa State's super close win, I think it was a 6-point game over Northern Iowa. So if you're kind of looking at how the Big 12 opened up the season, this is without question the most impressive win in the conference. Offensive-wise, I think things started off a little jittery, a lot of struggling. The pass blocking was not good at all early on, and really less than impressive for the whole game. Hudson Card seemed to have a guy on him after 2 or 3 seconds on every play early on. So I think that contributed to him being a little, kind of jittery, but that settled down for sure. So I was a little, worried there in the beginning. I didn't want to see this go one-dimensional real fast, but it seemed like Louisiana was really, gonna kind of sell out there and bring a lot of bodies and attack the Texas line. Just throwing up some stats. I just wanted to bring up a few. So here's the team stats. I don't know if I'll put it up on the screen, but just real quickly, the numbers that stood out to me were the difference in rushing stats. 170 rushing yards for Texas, 76 rushing yards for Louisiana. Third down conversions, 10 of 15 for Texas, and then 1 of 1 on the fourth down. That was a big difference maker too, where the Texas defense held Louisiana to 4 of 13 third down conversions. That was a big deal. Jordan Whittington for Texas was money on third downs, made a few key third down catches. Time of possession, 33 minutes, 13 seconds for Texas versus 26 minutes and 47 seconds for Louisiana. And that was almost doubled Texas over Louisiana in the first half. So those stood out to me. I also saw a stat that said that Bijan and Jordan Whittington combined had about 100 yards after the catch. So, Bijan had about 73 yards receiving, and then Jordan Whittington obviously led the team with more than 100 yards receiving, but combined both of their stats, and they both had more than 100 yards after the catch, which is awesome. That's exactly what you want to see, and what I think Steve Sarkisian's offensive philosophy brings is hitting receivers in stride and finding a way to get at least one guy open all the time. I was speaking of Bijan at receiver. He had 24 total touches. Most of that was through the first 3 quarters, so pretty decent workload for him. But he just lined up at receiver several times and just ran some routes. It wasn't like his catches were all dump-off passes or screens or wheel routes out of the backfield, your typical running back type of pass-catching routes. He was lining up at receiver a few times. He made one, I think, third down catch in the middle of the field where it was just kind of a simple post route. He looked like he was going, kind of on a streak rail route, and then planted his right leg and cut it in, and Hudson Card hit him kind of in the middle of the field for a pretty big gain. But in that play, had you not known that he was a running back, you would have just thought that he was lining up at one of the inside receiver spots. So that was really cool to see. That just goes to show you that they're obviously just trying to come up with several ways to get the ball in his hands, especially in space. So that was a big deal. And really comforting to see that they're wanting to use him several different ways. But going back to just some kind of like higher level stuff that I saw and noticed, I noticed pretty early on that Louisiana's blocking schemes were really a lot of zone blocking, and to me that kind of signals an offensive line that can't really get direct push to create space. They've got to kind of do it by letting the running back sort of pick an open hole through zone blocking and movements and also traps, pulling the guard and the tackle sometimes. So I noticed a lot of that, and a lot of it, I thought a lot of it worked, for them early on. It looked like the Texas down lineman, which going into the game, I was thinking that was likely the strongest unit on the team. that they were getting beat a little bit. So luckily, Overshone and Brockemeyer just played like absolute monsters Saturday. Overshone finished with 13 tackles, and Luke Brockemeyer, right there in the middle, finished with, I believe, 10 tackles. Each had half a tackle for loss or something like that. And they also kind of combined on a few tackles, and even the tackles that they didn't make, a lot of them they were right there. They were right there by the ball, so they were flying around all over the place, which was awesome to see. I mentioned early on that every pass for Texas kind of seemed like a struggle. Hudson Card seemed like he had a guy on him after 2 or 3 seconds, but that settled down, and he made some really solid throws. Especially, he made a lot of great throws right in the middle. Several to Jordan Whittington, a couple to Bijan Robinson, right kind of in the middle of the field, which that's really cool to see. If you can come up with some schemes to open up the middle of the field, that's where you're going to be able to hit receivers in stride, other than, streaking down the sidelines. But that was really cool to see. Really confident to see that. What else? Like I said, Bijan had a pretty big workload through 3 quarters, but by the end of the game, 24 total touches. That's right about what you would want to see. Keelan Robinson, the transfer from Alabama, he got more carries than I thought he would. I believe that Keelan and Roschon Johnson each had 7 carries, so it was cool to see more of them in the kind of late third quarter and fourth quarter. But and Robinson had a really good run where he broke some tackles and kind of streaked down the sidelines for an extra 12 yards or so. Roschon had that one little kind of flare pass where he hurdled the defender, which was really cool, and that was a key third down too. But I thought that the second half started off much better. It looked like they were really ready to come out in the second half. And overall, I think what we saw was a team that overall was ready to play. New coaching staff, new quarterback, kind of a quarterback controversy leading up to a week before the game, not knowing if it was going to be Casey or Hudson. And if that was true, if even the team didn't know who their quarterback was going to be, that's a big deal too. It's a big deal for your linemen. It's a big deal for your receivers. Who's going to be back there. I thought Hudson Card showed athleticism. I thought he showed toughness. He didn't really make any big mistakes. Didn't take a lot of terrible sacks at the wrong time. Controlled the ball, no interceptions. He had, that one touchdown pass to Cade Brewer. That was pretty tight. That was kind of a gamble. That could have been picked off, but it wasn't. I thought maybe they would come up with some plays to move Card around a little bit, especially given how the first quarter kind of started with him, kind of getting hit on pretty quickly. So I thought we would see a little bit more rollouts, allowing him to kind of throw on the run, because he can throw on the run. A couple times where he stepped back up into the pocket and hit a good pass downfield. But overall, his first start, really good. No complaints there. Definitely, I think they made the right decision. Card can spin it, no doubt about it. And he's a little bit more athletic than I think people give him credit for. He's a former wide receiver in high school. So the left side of the offensive line, Okafor is over there. I don't know. I don't know if he needs 8 years in the program. I think this is his 5th year in the program, 6th year, something like that. I don't know. I would love to see somebody else in there. Yeah, stick one of the younger guys in there. The left side of the line is just pretty suspect. Jones, Okafor, I think Kirk Sutter, right tackle. I think he was called for a holding call. I think we saw 2 holding calls. We had about 60-something yards in penalties, including a couple of blocks in the back that negated Shark Jameson's kick return for touchdown. One of them was pretty questionable to me. Didn't really look like a block in the back. The one that happened closer to Deshaun right after he got the ball. But overall, not too bad penalties. At least they didn't happen in really critical times. So, yeah, really confident about this. Just, like I said, just in terms of you want to see your team go out there, no matter who the opponent is, and play with conviction, with just continuity and consistency. We didn't see dropped passes all over the field. We didn't see, a ton of penalties happening at crucial times. We saw, for the most part, I think, what this team wants to do, which, if that's true, then that means they imposed their will on Louisiana more so than the other way around. They did establish Bijan Robinson in the run, and in the passing game. They were able to convert third downs, especially in the passing game. The defense did hold the Louisiana to under 20 points. And, that, hey, checked pretty much all the boxes. Dicker, the kicker, missed one field goal, which, had he not pushed that first field goal, might have been 41-18. He hit another one that I think ended up being like 49 yards. So, overall, that's the way you want to start the season. Let's look at a few plays that stood out to me of, key situations, kind of eye-popping performances. But this first one here was a really big 3rd and 9 from Texas's own 12-yard line. So, this is where Louisiana obviously kicked a field goal, but Brockemeyer and Overshone were coming in on a blitz on this play. You can see him in the middle. Brockemeyer kind of gets swallowed up, and Overshone kind of knifes in and misses the tackle, but circles back around, and Overshone and Brockemeyer are there kind of at the same time to take down Levi Lewis for a loss back to the 20. So that was cool. Obviously, enough guys were covered up, but Overshone and Brockemeyer had great games. They really showed up. This one is 2nd and 1. This is an early run by Bijan that he did a great job just cutting it up there. I mean, God, he's got burst. And then before you know it, he's already on the the Louisiana 45-yard line. And then a few plays later, the first Texas touchdown, where Hudson Card basically called a little audible, and Bijan shifted up to Hudson Card's left side. And it was almost an illegal motion play because Bijan barely got his feet set before the ball was snapped, maybe just half a second earlier, and he might have been called for illegal motion moving toward the line of scrimmage. But that was a great play call right there, and I believe there were 2 tight ends on that left side that kind of went inside routes that just opened up the entire left side of the field for Bijan for a wide open touchdown. So an awesome adjustment there. Whether that was, one of Sarkisian's kind of things that he teaches to look for, whether it was all Card, no matter why that play happened, when was the last time we saw a Longhorns receiver, even though Bijan's a running back, but a pass catcher be that wide open for a touchdown? That was pretty cool to see. This play here, this was the first play of the second quarter. This was the long pass to Xavier Worthy. So Card throwing almost from the goal line and hits Worthy for ends up being on about the 42-yard line. So that was Worthy's only catch, even though true freshman, got the start. He did have a kick return for I think 18 yards, but that was a great catch. Obviously cool to see, and it was also cool to see Card throwing downfield like that. Okay, not just the little dink and dunk high percentage passes that you might expect from a redshirt freshman getting his first start. All right, this was a little bit later. This was one of the 3rd down conversions where Card hits Bijan right in the middle of the field. And if you go back to the alignment of this play, Bijan really lines up as a receiver. He's kind of on the inside there, and this was a 4-receiver set where Bijan's on the inside. He kind of sells that he's going straight, but then runs a little post, and he's open, takes it down to about the 25. So again, going back to using Bijan as a receiver, but lining him up as a wide receiver makes the defense account for where is he. If he's not in the backfield, where is he? And what's he gonna do? Are they gonna throw just a quick screen to him? Is he gonna actually run a route? So that's gonna force defenses to make some pretty critical decisions. So that was really cool to see. And something that I really didn't expect too much of lining Bijan up at receiver. Here's the third down conversion from Roschon, who gets this little pass out here and just hurdles the defender, gets the first down in about 10, 12 more yards. Yeah, that was really cool to see. That looked like a called play. That looked like that was the play, the option on that play. But that was cool to see Roschon get that first down. Another third down, a 3rd and 9, and I believe he hits Whittington here. Yeah. This was Whittington's little move. If you watch the other camera angle from the goalpost camera showed this better, but Whittington makes this little kind of double move with his defender behind him and totally almost breaks his ankles. Now, watch this. Whoop. Now, had this umpire not been here, there's a ton of open field that Whittington, I don't know if he just didn't see it or maybe the umpire kind of blocked his view, but man, if he could have just cut this right back at that hash mark right there and just darted straight, he probably would have scored a touchdown here. But he kind of brings it out more, and looks like he's kind of using this block here from Bijan. But that play sets up the second touchdown, which is the pass to Cade Brewer right at the goal line. Kind of a risky pass, but Card definitely got it in there. This pass in this kind of situation reminded me of Card's touchdown pass in the spring game to Marcus Washington, a really tight throw. But Brewer kind of turns around and sits down and gets it right at the goal line. And Whittington was kind of right behind Brewer in the end zone. And the first time I saw that, I kind of thought that Whittington was really open. But then when I looked at it again, it's pretty evident that second defender comes off of Whittington right when he sees, I think, Card going for Brewer. So that kind of almost threw Whittington open. This play here is early third quarter, a 3rd and 11. This is a 5-receiver set, and this is the one where he hits Jordan Whittington in the middle, and Whittington just kind of rumbles for another 20 yards or so. But great job by Card, seeing Whittington open, takes it, kind of rumbles down. Yeah, great run there. Yeah, that's more than an extra 20 yards. But another big third down conversion and another middle of the field pass. You've got to be super confident about that. That's awesome. Had this been a Colin Johnson, LJ Humphrey, a pass catch from Sam Ehlinger, it likely would have been right at that 11-yard mark, maybe even a little earlier, and almost an instant tackle. But man, and so happy for Whittington that he had a game like that where he's healthy. All right, this next play here, obviously Whittington sets up this play after his long catch. This is third touchdown. Hudson Card taking it in himself. Still early third quarter, a 2nd and 5. This is Bijan's. This is Bijan's touchdown run. Sorry. Hudson Card's run comes a little bit later. But obviously just kind of a quick stutter step for Bijan and almost pretty much untouched into the end zone, which that's definitely what you want to see. You don't want to see Bijan trying to muscle and rumble his way into the end zone, trying to push a pile, especially by the third quarter. So this one up 21-12. This is a 1st and 10 inside the Louisiana territory as well. So another great run here by Bijan. Just really straight up ahead. Tries to do a spin move, but gets taken down right there. But again, undeniable burst, undeniable speed, just the ability to get. I mean, right there, he's in the second line of defense already. I mean, just in the blink of an eye. And that's he's the type of running back that he doesn't need a big hole. He just needs, that opening that he can just plant his foot and cut upfield. All right, this is a 2nd and 9. Yeah, this is another pass to be. This is one where he goes down, he fumbles, and then he slips on his leg. I stood up and put my hands on my head at this point. His face mask goes right to his knee. It looks like he can't move. I didn't know if he was, if he had pulled something, torn a leg muscle, his hip. I don't know. He legit fumbles before he lands on his leg like that. A second Louisiana defender comes in and knocks the ball out. So luckily, I think it was Josh Moore was there, and Whittington kind of piles onto Josh Moore. Yeah, you see it here where number 2 comes in, and then number 20 knocks the ball out of his hand. So that's a legit fumble by Bijan, and then he kind of slides down this really super awkward position. I was just afraid he tore something, hamstring, hip, or something like that. It kind of reminds me of last year. I forget what game it was, where he kind of did a flip and just almost ended up contorting back over his head. It looked so crazy. It looked like his neck was just all messed up and twisted up. But he's got the flexibility for sure. He did come back into the game and have several plays after that. But man, super worried because he was on the ground for a while. All right, this is Hudson Card's touchdown run, a 3rd and goal. A great play call here, I think. We hadn't seen Card on a called run other than this. Card did convert, I believe, a 4th down early in the game, but this one was a called run. And credit to Cade Brewer there, number 80, for getting the kick-out block, really the key block to make this play happen. You'll see Brewer kick his guy out right there, and then Card just kind of ducks in right behind it, untouched. This one is a 3rd and 9, another 3rd down conversion for Card. I believe he hits Whittington in the middle of the field. Oh no, this is Casey Thompson. Yeah, this is a great play by Casey Thompson, who comes into the game and steps back up into the pocket, throws on the run. Look at him, back up into the pocket, throws on the run. And hits Whittington for a 1st down. Yeah, that was Casey's best play. He only had 5 passes, but I think he finished 4 of 5 for a touchdown, and I think this is actually the touchdown to Whittington. Yeah, he flares it out to Whittington. Whittington makes that guy miss, and that. So 3 missed tackles there. Kind of lazy tackles though by Louisiana. But it was awesome to see Casey get in there, and that's something I didn't mention in my kind of overall thoughts was, this team has 2 starting quarterbacks, no doubt, and I really hope Casey stays. But given that he already played in this game, and he already has a redshirt year, I highly doubt that he's going to transfer during hit the transfer portal this season. But yeah, I think we're going to need Casey this season. I really do. I think I don't see injury wise whatever or just using Casey as just kind of a change of pace. We saw Roschon Johnson line up at quarterback in kind of a wildcat situation, which was cool to see. So I think this offense is gonna legit need Casey this year. And that's not to say anything about Card. I brought up this play here just to show just really bad missed tackles. I think this is Ovie, the transfer from Notre Dame. I think DeMarvion Overshone misses a tackle here, but like 3 missed tackles right there. Whoop. And then misses another one, and then into the end zone where B.J. Foster almost gets him at the goal line, but it was kind of too late anyway. So that was kind of a negative play for the defense. But, man, it was over 100 degrees on that field. It was crazy. But those were my kind of big plays that really stood out to me. Like I said, just a couple of defensive plays and then mostly offensive plays. But like I said, you gotta feel good about the overall performance. You got to feel good about this Texas team controlling the game, figuring out different ways to get first downs, different ways to score. You had Bijan running, Bijan catching, Whittington catching, Hudson Card runs it in. That's a lot of ways to score, right? Which is really cool. It's not just one-dimensional. It's not, oh crap, we all of a sudden need to score 14 points real fast, so we got to get one-dimensional. So yeah, I mean, I'm way more confident now than I was. I'm so much more confident in the linebacker group as well, with Overshown and Brockermeyer's performance, where the linebackers back in the spring, to me, were the biggest head scratchers. I thought overall the receivers showed up a little more than what I would expect. I would think that this offense, from what we saw Saturday, there's probably going to be one standout receiver. Next week it might be Josh Moore. The week after that it might be Xavier Worthy. Marcus Washington might get in there. Cavante Dixon might get in there. But I think we're going to see mostly these starters, Worthy, Whittington, and Moore. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Whittington only gets 4 catches next week and maybe Moore gets 6, 7, 8 catches. So heading into Arkansas game, not going to say a lot about it, but obviously a big game. It's a sold-out crowd in Arkansas. Southwest Conference kind of renewed, and also a huge game for Texas. If you're going to go to the SEC, maybe even as early as next year, don't you have to go beat Arkansas, who won 3 games last year? They were like 3-7. Yeah, you got to go in there and at least beat Arkansas if you think you're going to compete in the SEC. And it's going to be a big road game for Hudson Card. This is his first road start, right? In what's for sure going to be a hostile crowd. So that's going to be interesting. But good solid win against a ranked opponent. Absolutely great way to start the season. So got to give you a lot of confidence on both sides of the ball. But let me know what you guys thought. What stood out to you? What were you most pleased with? What were you even a little disappointed with? So hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next week.